right, we are making excellent progress. Day 1 and 2 are history, which means you've learned how to be fast in Excel and how to format your work professionally. That's great. In this chapter of the course, we will look at some of Excel's mechanics. All of these are tools that will improve the quality of your modeling output. And then we'll introduce you to functions, which will be the core focus of the next 2 days. Don't forget to check out the answers of yesterday's homework to see how you did, and solve the homework you will find in the last lesson of today's lectures for tomorrow. That's it. Have fun watching the lessons and have a great day. Hello, everybody. In this extract, we'll learn how to fix cell references and explain why this is an important part of modeling skills. In this table, we have 3 imaginary products. You can see quantities and prices per unit here. This cell will be equal to the product of the 2 previous cells. And here's the result. Now, let me paste the same formula to the 2 rows below. Great! We can observe that Excel automatically changed the column and the row numbers in the 2 new cells. Will we repeat this exercise for the totals? This would be the sum of the upper 3 cells. What if I copy the formula to the right? Lovely. Because the references are not fixed, Excel automatically adjusted the column letter and the row numbers, and I won't need to do it cell by cell. The conclusion is that if I am pasting a formula along the vertical or the horizontal axis, the program will automatically change the column and row references accordingly. Therefore, we can say the references are moving. They are not static. Let's go to the next sheet. This time, I would like to calculate the prices in euro. Here's the USD-euro conversion rate. I basically need to multiply these 3 cells by 0.9. It is easy to calculate the price for product A. Let me paste the same formula below. Why zeros? The conversion rate had to remain fixed. That's why. The way to do that is to put a $sign in front of the reference we would like to keep still. Here, both the column and the row value of the conversion rate must be fixed. The much quicker way to do that is to press F4 while typing the formula. Everything seems all right, so let's drag the formula down. Okay, it's better now. Good. Let's check out the last sheet we have here. Suppose the products were sold at various discount rates. So, in this cell, I must obtain 7 minus 10%. Here, 7 minus 20%. Here, 15 minus 10%. And so on. All right, let's write the base formula. Okay, what would happen if I copy the formula to the right? Clearly, I did not get the February and March prices. In our case, by putting a $sign in front of the column letter D, we'll make sure that when we copy the formula to the right, this argument will remain fixed, and we'll be able to multiply the price by 1 minus the discount rate for the respective month correctly. If I simply paste the formulas for product B and product C, I'll run into a problem again. Row references can be fixed as well. If I fix the row reference 11 after C, when I copy the formula downwards, the cell row will remain static. The quicker way is to use F4 again, but this time it should be pressed not once, but twice. Fixing cell references in the right way helps you organize your sheets and work more efficiently. By the end of this course, you'll have seen plenty of practical examples of how it's done. For now, this will do. Thanks for watching. All right, here's the thing. Hiding rows and columns in Excel spreadsheets can be dangerous, especially when other people use your files. In the sheet we see here, it is difficult to notice that a column's been hidden. The professional way to hide rows and columns is by using Excel's group functionality. Whenever we do, a symbol will appear on the top of the sheet if we are hiding a column, and on its left side if we are hiding a row. It is much easier to see that one of the columns has been hidden now, right? Let's dig deeper into the mechanics of the group functionality. Let's say you would like to group columns E, F, and G. First, you need to select 3 adjacent cells from these 3 columns, not even the entire columns. Under the Data tab, you'll find a Group button. You can press it and choose Columns in the dialog box that opened. The 3 columns have been grouped now. The dots above each column show the column is part of a group. The thing is that we are not certain which group they are part of, as there can be multiple groupings. The thick line above helps us figure this out. It continues to the right where you get to the minus sign, which would allow you to hide the group when you press it. And then, if you press the plus sign, you will, logically, expand the group. To ungroup a group, you must again select the 3 adjacent columns or cells that have already formed a group, and then press the Ungroup button located just below the Group button in the Data tab. Let's try this. It works fine. You could use the little dots for your orientation to see which columns you need to select. Fine. So far, the intuition is okay. Now, let's create another group with the H, I, and J columns. The impossible happened. Excel enlarged my group. E, F, and G on one hand, and H, I, and J on the other hand, are not 2 separate groups. Technically, the only way to separate 2 adjacent groups would be to insert a blank column between them. Strange, right? Actually, this is not the usual practice. First, create a larger group, as we have here with the columns from E to J. Now I can select H, I, and J, and then press the group sign. Okay, but the minus sign again hides all 6 columns instead of 3. But pay attention. Here's the trick. These little numbers on the left represent the different rows in the hierarchy of the grouping. The higher the number, the more columns that will be visible. See how, when I press each one, the number of columns displayed changes. Remember, this field with the group's hierarchy will always be here to help you. Yes, you'll probably need practice to get used to this setting, but don't worry, this is the way it works. Things are identical when you want to group rows. Let's do a quick exercise. Group rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, let's press the Group button one more time. This time, opt for rows. Nice. For practice, let's ungroup the rows. You can select one cell from each of the rows 3, 4, 5, and 6, And then press Ungroup. Choose Rows. It worked great. Remember that grouping works only for adjacent rows and columns, and never on multiple ranges. Besides, a single column or a single row can still form a group. When you get accustomed to this functionality, you want to learn a shortcut and apply it faster. The shortcut for adding a group is Alt, Shift, and right arrow. If you would like to remove a group, you can do that by pressing Alt, Shift, and left arrow. Awesome! This will do for now. See you in the next lecture. Whenever you have to carry out the same operation on multiple sheets, you can use the grouping functionality. Let's see how it is applied and how it can help us edit multiple sheets at the same time. Imagine the following situation. Your boss asks you to create an Excel file that contains the income statements of 5 companies operating in the same industry. The income statements of these companies have the same formats, given they operate in the same industry. Right. An efficient way to start this exercise is to create a single structure that can be used for all 5 companies. Here's how grouping can help you speed up the process. Create 5 empty sheets and select the first one. There are 2 ways to group sheets in Excel. The first one involves holding the Control key and then selecting the other sheets one by one. The second way is to hold the Shift key and press the last worksheet to be grouped. Now, obviously, all 5 worksheets have been selected. Let's create an income statement. Revenue, COGS, gross profit. I'll stop for a second and check out what's happening in the other sheets. As you can see, the information we typed is already there. Great! Here's where you must be careful. You should always remember that you are working in group mode, and every time a cell in one of these sheets changes, the other sheets will change as well. Therefore, try to be alert when grouping sheets. You can exit group mode easily. Click on one of the sheets outside your group without using Control or Shift, and you can edit sheets as usual, one by one. This is how you can use the grouping functionality to be more efficient when carrying out repetitive tasks. Thanks for watching. Often, you want to replace a word, name, or reference with another one. And for anyone taking this course, it is forbidden to carry out these tasks manually. Find and Replace is Excel's go-to tool, allowing us to find and replace text. It can find and replace text in cells and formulas. Right. Replacing text is pretty straightforward, isn't it? I can easily replace the word bananas with the word oranges in this sheet. See? Great. Let's see how we can use replace when working with formulas. In this workbook, we have P&L extractions for 2014, 2015, and 2016. The idea is to create a database where information from these 3 sheets is taken. All right? The formulas you see here function properly. They have been correctly taken from the full year 2014 sheet. Okay, I'll copy the formulas in this column and paste them to the right. Nice. The sheet names didn't change though. Should we type a new formula? Alternatively, maybe we should change the sheet names manually. No. Replace is the name of the function you need. You know how to open the Find and Replace window, right? It is in the Home tab, under Find and Select. And here we have a second tab, which is called Replace. A much quicker way to open Find and Replace is to use the Control and H shortcut. When we open Options, we can choose whether to carry out the operation in this sheet only or the entire workbook. Here, I'll look for 1.1 full year 2014. I want to replace this sheet name with 1.2 full year 2015, which is the name of the second sheet in this workbook. Let's see what's going to happen after I press the Replace All button. The job's done. We can quickly check a few numbers with the information in the second sheet and yes, everything looks fine. Shall we do the same for column H? You already know what needs to be done. Select the entire column H. Open the Find and Replace dialog box. When we select an area of the sheet, Excel performs Find and Replace only for that given area of the sheet. It doesn't look outside of the selected range. Here, we've selected column H only. Click Replace All. Perfect! Find and Replace is a very, very useful tool. However, you have to be careful too. Make sure you are not changing cells that are outside the area you would like to change. That's an important check to make that will prevent costly mistakes. I'd like to point out that we are doing really well. Find and Replace is a valuable tool in the arsenal of great Excel users. Well done! Right, you've seen the previous lecture, and you know how Find and Replace works. More importantly, you know how it can be used in practice. That's great! In this video, we would like to show you an extra feature of Find and Replace, which is a game changer. Let's open the Find and Replace dialog box. Excel allows you to find and replace the formatting of cells, and not only their content. And this can be invaluable. We've heard stories of people working for several hours, replacing colors, number formats, headings, and so on. Literally sleeping in the office and working like little elves. If they only knew that all of this could be done through a few clicks. Press the Format button, and then precisely select the format you are looking for. It could be a number category, like currency, or date. Alternatively, you could search for cells whose text is aligned to the left, for example, or for cells where a certain font is used, and so on. More importantly, you can combine these formatting characteristics. For example, you can look for a date format, which is written in bold. Okay? Let's try to find all cells in the sheet with a yellow fill color and replace their fill color with light blue. I'll click on Format. Then, under the Fill section, I'll select Yellow and we'll press OK. Then, I'll do the same to select the light blue color. Perfect. Click on Replace All, and voila! The formatting of these cells was changed in a split second. Sometimes we can format cells differently. Do you see the tiny arrow on the right side of the Format button? We can click here and select Choose Format from Cell, which allows us to select the cell whose format you would like to assign as a Find format. Then you can select the desired cell format and press Replace All. By doing this, we are using multiple criteria. One of them is the cell's fill color. But also, we are looking for cells that are formatted as a number. So we have two criteria: fill color and cell format. Good. This makes things so much easier. Note, we could replace all formatting elements, such as fill color, font color, alignment, and cell format. Use this tool whenever you need to substitute the formatting of many cells in a worksheet. Avoid manual work and save some extra time. If you wonder what is the right way to set a print area, don't go away, as this is exactly what we will show you in our next lesson. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.
Hello everybody. Let's have a quick demonstration on how to set a print area. Very often we need to print our work in Excel. Therefore, it is key to produce printable documents. We need to learn how to organize our documents, imagining that someone will print them out at some point. In order to do that, we have to organize well all the sheets and the information flows. Once this is done, we can go ahead and select which parts of each sheet should be printed out and which parts of the sheet shouldn't be printed. Let's assign a printable area for the sheet, which we have here. First, I'll select the area that should be printed. Then I'll go to the menu bar and select Page Layout, where we have the Print Area menu. I'll click on it and select Set Print Area. See how Excel put a border to the print area of our sheet? If we print it, only the selected area will be printed. This is how you can set a print area. Thank you for watching this video.
Circular references and iterations are part of Excel, and, if in the right hands, can be a very useful tool. At the same time, they can be a nightmare for inexperienced users. In the next 2 lectures, we will show you how to handle them with ease. First and foremost, what is a circular reference? It happens when a formula points directly or indirectly to itself. When the output cell is included in the input we've entered into a formula, you will run into a loop that will be performed recurrently, an iteration. Let's see the following example. Let's type some random numbers in cells B4 and B5, 1 and 3. Now, if I want their sum to appear in B6, I should go to B6 and type equals B4 plus B5. Enter. And OK, equals 4. Correct. However, if I want to see their sum plus the value we have in B6, Excel will display an error message, which mentions the problem: circular references causing an incorrect calculation. Once you press OK, the output of the function is equal to 0. In the bottom left corner, Excel will always tell you which cell contains a circular reference, so that you can correct it. Here, the circular reference we've created was not part of a loop, and these indications will be all that Excel can do to help us out. Now, let's see what you can do when you stumble upon a loop. Let's write down the following sequence. D5 equals D4 times 10. D6 equals D5 times 10, and so on. Okay, what will happen if we have a numerical input in cell D4? I will type the number 5, and Excel will calculate the result. Okay? Good. However, if I decide that D4 is equal to D8, it means that the values from D4 to D8 will be recalculated and recalculated until when? Well, this is a circular reference, which Excel indicates through the blue line you can see here. Sometimes, when you create such a loop unintentionally, this is how you can easily spot the issue and solve it rather quickly. Right, and of course, when you work in Excel, there will be situations where you will run into circular references unintentionally. And this is how you can deal with them. Simply go back to the cell that creates a circular reference and find a way to carry out the calculation properly. What if we could use circular references for a given type of calculations? Let's open the next sheet and look at an example. The table you see here is a revenue breakdown table. All values are in dollars. Net revenue is equal to gross revenue minus commissions and bonuses. We already have values for gross revenue and commissions. Okay, bonuses are estimated as 20% of net revenue, and a logical question would be, which value are we going to calculate first? Bonuses or net revenue? We need the value of bonuses to obtain net revenue and the value of net revenue to calculate bonuses. So, which one comes first? The chicken? The egg? Do you agree we need a loop? So let's create one. Bonuses should be equal to 0.2 times net revenues. I can press Enter, and no value appears once again. Let's check if Excel prompts something down on the left. Yes, we have a circular reference. However, now the key thing would be to allow iterative processes. Do you know how to do that? Open the File tab, and then click Options. In the Formulas section, we need to tick Enable Iterative Calculation. OK? And great! Excel provided values that would fit both cells with extreme precision. Great job! In the next lecture, you'll be able to see a practical example of circular references. Thank you for watching. We learned how to use intentional circular references, and now we'll provide you with a real-world example of how this functionality can be applied in practice. In the table we have here, you can see the forecast values for D&A and CapEx. Let's look at the formula calculating D&A. At the end of 2017, it equals the product of the beginning PP&E and a predetermined D&A rate. The calculation method for the rest of the forecast period until 2021 is analogical. So these are the values obtained for D&A. Now, try to imagine if the main input for the calculation of D&A was not beginning PP&E, but ending PP&E. Then this cell's formula should equal the product of this value here and the D&A rate. However, we've created a circular reference, right? The D&A value is one of the 3 addenda that sum up to ending PP&E. All right, let's carry on with the calculation. The well-known warning popped up. We get the typical indication for a circular reference. Let's allow iterative processes in this document. Go to the File tab, and from the Options menu, select the Formulas section. Click on Enable Iterative Calculation. Good. Excel calculated D&A, and the values we obtained look reasonable. Logically, when you compare the 2 versions of the table, perhaps not only D&A changed, but the rest of the values moved too. And this shows us Excel has performed several iterative repetitions to come up with numbers that make sense. Bingo! This was an example of how we can use intentional circular references in practice. In the next video, we will learn more about connections and links between cells and formulas in Excel spreadsheets. Thank you for watching. All right, we're doing great. Before we learn about sophisticated Excel functions, we would like to show you the Trace Precedence functionality. Some Excel users love it, others barely use it. After seeing this video, you'll know how it functions and when it can be useful in the future. The financial model you see here will help us study how trace precedence functions. Obviously, many cells are interrelated, and the results obtained have been used for further calculations. To trace the input cells of a formula, one must read the formula and then search through the cells throughout the sheet, and sometimes throughout the whole file. Here's a way in which you can visualize the relationship between the cells in this worksheet. If we look at this cell, calculating taxes, we will see it equals EBT times the firm's tax rate. You can open the Formulas tab and press the Trace Precedence button to check the input cell references of the taxes formula. See? By clicking on Trace Dependence, you can verify which cells use taxes as an input. Perhaps it will be clearer if we provide an additional example. Click on Trace Precedence. A couple of blue lines appeared, indicating input cells that served for the calculation of taxes. In this situation, the EBT value and the tax rate are our precedents. Very nice. It is important to know this functionality can be used multiple times, as long as there are more and more precedents involved in any previous calculation. So, if I press the same button once more, I will understand that EBIT and the interest expenses have something to do with the calculation of the EBT. Right. The blue lines won't remain here forever. If you don't want to see them anymore, you can extend the menu we have here and select Remove Precedent Arrows. See? If I've clicked more than once, I'll have to click multiple times. Perfect. Let's do the same, but from the opposite angle. The amount of tax that is calculated here plays a role in some formulas. For instance, the one for net income. Hence, we say the value for net income is dependent on the value of taxes. And when I press Trace Dependence, I can see the calculation of which cells are tied to the taxes cell. We can trace precedence and dependence at the same time, too. To remove the respective arrows, click on Remove Arrows, and all the lines across the sheet will disappear. Another functionality from the formula auditing group that must be mentioned is Show Formulas. Instead of their results, the formulas will appear in the cells of the spreadsheet. After I unclick the button, the sheet will revert to its initial appearance. The shortcut for this command is Control and backquote in the upper left part of the keyboard. This functionality will help you when you are at a later stage of creating a worksheet and you want to verify if your formulas are correct quickly. And finally, I'd like to show you an interesting application of trace precedence. Let's open a different worksheet for a second. The cells we see here contain references pointing to the LBO sheet. If I click on Trace Precedence now, this box will indicate that the selected cell is connected to another sheet. If you double-click on the dashed line in the window, you will see these links. Select one of them and click OK. Well, apparently EBITDA played a role in the calculation of enterprise value, right? We were able to trace the connection. You saw how to quickly trace the way cells and formulas are connected in a worksheet. I hope you enjoyed this lecture and this section. After you complete the exercises and the quizzes, take your time to relax because you will have to get ready for the upcoming lectures about Excel functions. Thank you for watching.